I wanted you guys to understand what it took to, if you want something, you got to work hard and you got to understand that perfection is what I want. You don't have to be perfect, but you work to be as perfect as you can. Hi, everybody. Ageless Ambitions on Luxemedia Studios. I'm here in the heart of Hollywood, and I have the best special guest that you could have in terms of Ageless Ambitions. It's my dear, dear assistant back in the day, my dancer who started with me at 7 years old, who now has taken over the studio Art of Dance. And I am so excited for you and introducing her, Janise Barron Whitmore.
Hello.
How are you, Janise?
I'm good. I'm happy to talk to you. I'm so excited. I haven't seen you in a little bit.
I know. And didn't you just finish teaching adults jazz?
Yes.
Because I know on Tuesdays at 11 o'clock for like the past 20 something years, there was adult jazz. So
Yes. So they're gone.
you're
I had to
good.
like
You're good.
rush to like make sure I
Yeah.
look decent for
You
you
look
today.
beautiful. You look
Yeah.
beautiful. So, okay. So let's get started because I had the studio for so long and you, were a student, but I think that, Robin was involved with me at that time. I brought her in because I had just married Johnny Buss and we were like traveling and doing a whole bunch of stuff. So Robin kind of did a little bit more of the younger kids at the time
Yeah.
after I started the studio. And so you started with her at what age was that?
I started with Robin when I was 7.
Oh, it was 7.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was 7 with her. Maybe 6. I might have been a little bit younger. 6 or
Okay.
7, I started with Robin.
And then before that, you were still dancing. Like, I think your mama took you to a different studio.
I was dancing like, one of the recreation things down to like for school. So nothing crazy,
But
nothing
your
really
mom is
big.
so good about that. Your mom was always wanting to put all of you girls in something,
In a
right?
hundred activities, we
In a
would,
hundred.
yeah, we
Just
tried
to,
everything.
right. So, but you, I think you all danced, but then you really stuck into it. And I know your little sister did too, but in the beginning, it was just mainly you really loving dance, correct?
Yeah, it was me. I started, and once I was kind of into it, then my mom signed my sisters up.
Okay.
So yeah, just to
Okay.
get us all going on something.
On something like to have an activity because she's good about that.
Hmm. Yes.
So you started at 7, and then I don't remember when I got you. Was it just during, is that only when I was running the companies at the time?
No, I
Oh,
actually took some classes with you because I would take, remember in the rec room, we would do tumbling and it was like every other Friday or something like
oh
that.
yeah,
And
that's
you
right.
taught tumbling. So that's when I kind of started taking with you a little bit.
I
And
remember that.
then, and then I filtered in to maybe seniors or company
Seniors,
one. Yeah.
seniors,
Something like,
seniors.
hmm.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. And I think I did the tap then or something because
Yes.
they didn't do that. Okay, so my deal is, you know why I did that? Because to me, if you could do a little bit of tumbling, it only helped your dance. So
Yeah.
that's why, and it didn't cost anything. I always gave everything for free, basically, when it was like, just come on Friday, let's do some tumbling. Okay. So then you got into company, which is what was called the Christy Curtis Dance Company back in the day.
Yeah.
And it wasn't easy, like,
No, it was not easy. And when you had company, it was like, okay, class is 3.5 hours, and you have like a 10-minute water break in between. So,
I was like
so
into it. Like dance was like you just dance for 3.5 hours. Yep, you got a
yeah,
water
you
break.
were there all day. It was like after school, and you were there.
Hmm.
It was like homework when you got home late because you were at dance for hours.
Right, right. That's how
It
I
was
grew
great.
up, though. That's how I
Yeah,
did.
it
We
was
we
great.
danced when I danced with my mom. It was 4 to 8, 4 to 8:30. It was 4.5 hours. Yeah,
Oh my
and
goodness.
so I made it less. I thought I was
Yeah.
doing
Oh
good.
yeah. 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 Now
So
I can't even get him here for like
an hour and a half.
yeah.
That's
They've
it.
got plans and up and down everywhere.
Hmm. Okay, so you did company, and I was very stickler about getting from company 1 to company 2, company 3. and you were just diligent. You wanted to be in everything, and really took the time to take whatever chance you could to become into company 2 at the time, and then after that into company 3. So you were so dedicated, Janice, and you wanted to learn, you wanted to do a lot at the studio. And there was one point where I believe that your mom, because she's so into you guys to make sure that you're doing 100% the right thing, she's like, get her teaching. I want her in the studio all day, every day, to keep her out of her little shenanigans.
Yes, I was teaching with you. I was in company 1, 2, and 3, and then I think I was in even in seniors at some point as a
That's
company
right.
2 member. Like, I took every class.
Right,
I was
right,
there
right.
every day.
And so when your mom said that, I said, okay. So mentoring from, I think it was very early on. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
I started, like, really assisting and teaching with you. Let's see, I think I was either 14 or 15, like, getting into class because that's when Julia, my youngest sister, she started in the 3-year-old class. So I
Wow.
probably started around that time.
Hmm. And at that time too, at that point I was pretty much running the studio,
Yeah,
and I was teaching almost every class, and it was a lot. It was a lot. So I'm like, Janice, like, you got to get in here with me. You're going to learn how to teach. Let's get this going, because this is what you kind of told me you wanted to do in your future, right?
yes,
And you had to make a decision. You had to make a decision because your sisters are, they're very, all your family is very smart, very intelligent, and from your dad and your mom and all that. But you made the choice not to go to college, right? So that this could be your way into entrepreneurship and hands
yes.
on. And
Mhm.
thank God. I mean, because some of these people coming out of college, I mean, they have like $100,000 debt from, and you're running a studio on your own based on taking the time and going through all the ups and downs with me, which there was a lot of downs
A
because
lot
I'm
of ups.
a lot of ups, but I'm
Mhm.
like a stickler. I'm like just like you said, I was on point. Like, I was very disciplined to you guys. I wanted you guys to understand what it took to, if you want something, you got to work hard, and you got to understand that perfection is what I want, but it's not you don't have to be perfect, but you work to be as perfect as you can. And I always
Yes.
said, work as hard as you can, and be the best you can be, and no matter what happens on stage, it's because you worked hard, and that's where you're supposed to be at the time. Whatever happens on stage happens, but if you
Yeah.
don't work hard as in the rehearsal process, and that, it's going to look crappy on stage no matter what. So, you know and I did, I I felt like I took you under my wings, and you know tap is not easy, and the rhythmatic of it is not easy, and just to teach, how to teach kids, and how to
Yeah.
be on the left foot when they're on the right foot and stuff like that. It wasn't easy, and guiding them sitting on the floor to do their dance sitting down, so you're not dancing with them, that took a lot. So you learned so much, and to be able to take over and run your studio and put your own stamp on it, because you did. It was hard to see that on some levels, because this is what I've done in the way I ran it. But in the big picture, it's you, it's what you wanted to have for yourself, and you have to become yourself within the business that is now yours. And I appreciate that. So, okay, now that I got that out and you're running the business, right? So tell me what it's like. Tell me what it's like to be an entrepreneur. You told me in the email, I said, Janice, here is the outline. Do you want to do this? And you said, I need to think about it. I don't know if I can do it. I don't think I can, or I don't know. I have to talk to Kelsey, which that's your wife. And you're like, okay. I said, you can do this, Janice. I taught you everything. You can do this. So you came back and you said, I'm going to do it. How did that
I
feel?
It felt really, ooh, that was it was I was nervous, obviously. I think it was what, 20 years of me knowing that I had to answer to you.
Yes.
So
And
it
and
wasn't
can
some
I say one thing? When you say 20 years, I have to say to you that the trust in you, that you would never do anything to override me or take from me. you always looked out for me, that other people were doing that. And so the one thing I know about you, and I hope that I instilled in you, is honesty and trust is the main key of why it was easy to let go, you know? So I wanted you to know that. So after 20
Aw,
years, you know, we've done a lot. And
yeah,
and it wasn't you know, it's like your mom and you. It's like it's not
yeah,
always perfect. It's like, you know, but in the big picture, the love is there. So love sometimes pulls out, you know, the things that butt heads with, but in the big picture, it's to see that you believe in what you're saying is going to only help you, right?
definitely. Of course.
That was my goal. That was my goal.
Yeah.
And I know it wasn't easy. And to answer to me wasn't always easy, right? But
Yeah, but just I mean, it was great, but 20 years of it just it's not that I think that that when you had asked me that, it's not so much like I don't think I can do this. I think it was more so like, okay, I can do this, but oh my gosh, I'm gonna do it by myself. Like I don't have to call you after class. Like what do I do then? Like do I leave the studio and just drive home? I don't have to you know what I mean? Like it was more so like oh my gosh, I'm almost discombobulated. I'm so used to one way.
how do
How
you
do I
please me,
find
or how do
myself?
yeah. Yeah, and
What
now it's yours. It's yours. And you know, after 28 years of me doing it, it was pretty much my life, you know.
yeah,
And but seeing that what I've done to instill in you the properties that it took to not only teach inside the studio, but how to do numbers and that. I mean, I was the worst, and you would always say, "You're why are you letting this person not pay? You know, you need to get your, you know." So that part, I know you're doing a better job than me because I would just let
I
everybody teach
try.
for free. You,
I
you,
try.
it's not easy
It
now that you're on
no,
that side. See, it's not
I
easy
try.
that you're on that side that you want to help everybody and just say, don't worry about them paying, blah, blah, blah. It's not easy.
Not at
So,
all.
right. Okay, good. So I'm glad that that's, I'm glad I'm hearing that because, you know, but that's when you need somebody else. Right. So maybe
Yeah.
now it's not you, it's somebody else that makes them get the money in or something like that.
Mhm.
But how is it on a daily basis now that you're just on your own and it's yours and you have your babies, Miss Christy all the time, to now just Miss Janise and running, you know, you have babies 3 years old that you never wanted to teach that class. I'm like, that is your bread and butter. You've got to learn how to teach those kids, you know?
I mean, it's great. It's just you can't prepare for children. Like I think that they just like you how do you prepare for like I mean, the silliest story, like the toilet was messed up. So the plumber was on his way in. The plumber's at the door. And as the plumber is there, I've got one in the corner just like throwing up, like just stuff like that. You can't prepare for babies, but it's always, it feels good when they leave. You know, like they just are so accomplished and so happy and excited to see you even down the street and around the corner. Like I think that's probably one of the best parts is just knowing that you get to see these kids and they're so excited. They're more excited when they're than when they're 18. So I have to suck it all in now.
Believing Before Seeing, a new book by Candice Barr, teaching you how to believe into existence. Available now for pre-order.
Okay, so Janice, what is your favorite classes that you're teaching now based on before, like when you would, like when I was running it versus what's happening now, and your kind of hardest classes that you have to teach?
Ooh, good
I know, I
question.
already know I know the second one already.
Do you?
Maybe adults. No?
Adults are tough. But I think the hardest for me is gonna be like my oldest group. I think that's the hardest, only because I didn't teach them when I was still with you. You know, we had
Mhm.
Charmaine in here teaching. It was you and her doing
Mhm.
company 3. And so um it's not that it's hard. I mean, it's hard, but it just gives me a little bit more time. Like I have to prepare to come up with dances that I don't necessarily have to do for my seniors or my juniors. I can do that group. I know how to work with them. Um,
Well, you're being challenged, right? Like
yeah, but it's a good thing.
yeah, it's a good thing. I think that's
It's
a
a
good
good
thing.
thing.
But
Yeah,
but
and I have my
but
sister is in here with me doing all that, so it
but with
helps.
that, your company 3 is almost like when you were teaching company 1. it was hard for you to think up
Yeah.
choreography on that level because that was your highest level at that time. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So now you're kind of past that too into company 3 and excelled and all that. So, and then of course, Lisa, it's very hard to deal with adults, and knowing that most of them took from me forever, you thought they weren't going to like you. And I'm like, Janise, they want to just take class and they adore you. So I'm sure that that's how that is too.
They're great. They love coming to class. So that's always positive that
It's a
when I
mainstay of adults. They just love it.
yeah, and when I come in to teach that class, it's great because it's your jazz warm up. It's nothing that I've been doing that jazz warm up since I was 10 years old. Like hopefully I know it by now. But even so, some of them have been doing it since I was 5 years old. So they're like, Miss Janise, you missed the head to the left. And I'm like,
Right?
sorry.
Right? They have a way, and you want to change it up to kind of just be unique and different. They don't want that. They just want
No,
the
they
same
don't.
thing.
Yeah.
Right?
And so
Okay.
that's great. That's great that they get to do that. I
So
love it.
you're working on your show, which I'm so
Yeah.
glad that and you know, my product just went viral, right? I told you about this. And
Yeah.
it just put me into costume mode so easily. Like my assembly line of product, wrap, note, like, you know, the label. It's like, this is what we did at the studio in terms of costumes. And it just came so easy for me to put like 350 products out in like 2.5 days.
I love that. Yes.
And so whatever that's what I'm saying, what's happening to you now, like it's everything you've learned since you were younger. You can handle anything. And so I know that last year was your first show, and how in the heck am I going to do this by myself because it's a lot, and you pulled it off. You did it. And I'm just so proud of you. So now that's the hardest thing for me when it came to every year. 28 years of this. What am I going to do the next year? How am I going to make the next year better? That's the hard part about being at the studio and making that next show even better than the last show. So
Yeah.
what are you doing? I know still have create, you know, when I gave you the studio, it was more like the repertoire of things that were really mainstay of the studio that people still love to see these numbers, right? So
Yeah.
you get to work with that. But what kind of theme do you have? Do you have a theme, or is it just a showcase? Or
We don't have a theme, but we are doing some good ones that you choreographed. So like PYT is back, and juniors are ready with their silver glove. They are prepared for PYT, their jazz dance. So
nice.
and they're doing time after time that you did. So we're
Okay,
excited.
cool.
We're excited to do those. We don't have a theme for the show.
That's okay.
Yeah, just to get some different numbers in there without having
Just
to.
call it a show. We ended up calling it a showcase after a while,
Yeah,
so it's just a
that's what we
showcase.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So when is it? When your show?
It's on June 17th,
Okay.
in El Segundo at the high
Okay.
school.
Okay.
So very exciting.
Okay. Okay, Janise, I have a question for you. This is really
Yes.
this show is called Ageless Ambitions, and you know, I'm an ageless ambition person, right? Like being
Yes.
my age, right? Like you don't think that I'm like turning 65 coming up this year.
Woo!
But I still want to always be like, what can I do next? What can I think about to keep? And I know that in you have such an ambition for travel and seeing the world with your other significant other, and you guys just travel and do so many things, and that makes me so happy. Like I wish I had that in me to want to just go to places. Where did you just go? Where was
Oh my
that?
God. We just went to Iceland and it was amazing. It was so great.
What made you think about going to Iceland? Tell me.
You know, I never know. I love waterfalls. I do. I love waterfalls. So that is literally my inspiration to go anywhere. If I look at a picture and I see that it has an amazing waterfall, it makes me want to go there. And my wife loves the cold weather. I'm not so much.
I was wondering, like, what the heck are you doing in the snow?
Oh my gosh, it was 20 degrees and it was cold, but we have to rotate. So we just did Caribbean with my family. So I was like, okay, it's your turn.
But that's the ageless ambition. I want everybody to see, like, don't be afraid to take the time, even though you took on this big, huge business, and it's a lot of work.
It
You
is.
took the time, and you make time to to do the things that make you inspire yourself to even now get back to the studio, right? So that's a key thing in life, is to take time for yourselves. And I'm so proud of you. And what is your biggest place that you want to go to end the show? Like, what do you want to, what's your dream place to go? Tell me.
Oh my gosh, I have so many. And actually, I think I've done a lot of them. We did the Philippines for our honeymoon, and I think that was one really big place that I wanted to go. But I think I just want to go on an African safari and like see
You
the
do?
elephants.
Oh my God.
I do, but it's far. It's
It
far.
is
And
far.
then
You know, I remember, you know, Katie, she did that. She loved it. She wanted
really,
to, you got to talk to her if she did that. I think she did it like 2 or 3 times.
oh my
And
gosh,
that's
that's
her
amazing.
favorite thing that she's ever done. So let's get
But
the African, let's get
yeah.
that African safari in for your like thought process. You can do it.
Well, my mom is from Thailand, so and we love Thai food. So going back to Thailand for a long time is
A
always
dream.
really hot. Yeah.
A
Yeah.
dream. Okay, I like that. I like that. Okay, well, Janise, thank you so much for being here. I'm so proud of you to run and own yourself, the Studio Art of Dance. It's in El Segundo. You were a baby when we met. Like, this is so crazy. I'm so proud of you. And
Thank
thank you for
you.
being here on Ageless Ambitions. Everybody, please look for the Studio Art of Dance in El Segundo. I'm so happy to be here with you today. Ageless Ambitions on Lux Media Studios. Come back and see us again.